Welcome to this week's video. This week we will be looking at my training for the past week, then taking you along for a session again with a little twist because we had some mishaps. Happens. And then lastly, Mr. NRG Runs from YouTube recommended that I discuss long runs. So we'll get into that. On that note, I'll link his channel. He's also going for the sub 3, but he's all the way in the UK. Anyways, let's get into it. Right, so here we have my training for the past week. So we've got 3 weeks under the belt and I'm in the full swing of the 4th week. If we look at the Strava from last week, so the Monday easy run, 65 minutes easy, that went well, I felt good. Then the session you guys saw in last week's video, 1k fast, 1k slow, 2k fast, 1k slow, 3k fast, 1k slow, 2k fast, 1k slow, and 1k fast. Speeds on the 1ks being faster than the 3k, obviously. And that session went really well. Then, see, this is where we roll with the punches. We learn from our mistakes. So, as you can see in my training, I had planned to run an 11 on the Wednesday, which I did, but I think that was a mistake. So what I've already changed this week is instead of doing 65 minutes easy on the Wednesday, I'm going to stick to 35 minutes easy on the Wednesday. The issue wasn't on the Wednesday run itself, the issue actually came the following day. So Thursdays, I always do hilly runs. Total elevation 258 meters, total elevation 267 meters, total elevation 266. Just in perspective, Cape Town Marathon in the entire marathon has less elevation than just these runs. Anyways, I digress. Point is, my Achilles hurt a little bit running these hills, and it's I think because I didn't recover enough on the Wednesday. So that's why I titled this run Time to Listen to My Own Advice. Because last week's topic was easy running, and what was the point? It was to recover for the harder runs. So there we go. I'm listening to my own advice. This week I've done less. This week today, which was today actually, I did 6.3, so I only did 35 minutes. There we go. The long run on Saturday, I ran it with a friend, and it was a really good run. We ran a bit faster than I actually planned. That's because he is super fast and he was just chilling, nasal breathing next to me while I was dying. Anyways, so I had initially planned to run a warm-up and then do 15Ks around 440, 3Ks around 425, and then 3Ks cool down. But if we look at these splits, I did 3k warm-up, that was fine, but then we went 39, 34, 32, 30, 36, 30. These were too fast actually. Anyways, doesn't matter, I felt fine. And then the last 3 of those, the ones where we picked up, I did 417, 412, and then 423 instead of going 425, 425. Anyways, yeah. So what? When you run with friends who are faster than you sometimes do this. So that was last week's training. This week, yeah, it's carrying on as per usual. I'll obviously discuss that in next week's video. Let's look at this week's session, the Tuesday session. Let me just play the video.
What's up? Welcome to this week's session. Today I will be rocking 5x2Ks, starting at around marathon pace, and then progressing. So the last rep will be, I don't know, closer to half marathon pace. And my recovery between the reps will be around 250 meters of jogging very slowly. And yeah, again, I'm here at my little 1k loop, so I'll just be rocking that Right now, doing a 3K warm-up jog. Very straightforward stuff. I'll be taking one gel after the first rep. Yeah, and we'll see how that goes. If you are wondering why I'm taking gels on sessions, to keep those glycogen stores topped off, or just top them off within sessions, just helps recovery start sooner. Yeah, and it just lets me not feel completely depleted after a session. So the idea of these Tuesday sessions is to make the Saturday long run sessions feel easier by going a bit quicker now. So working a bit faster than marathon pace, and on the long runs working a bit slower up to marathon pace. As we get closer to marathon, I'll make these sessions more specific, so the reps will get longer. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a bit shaky, so the gel's definitely gonna be needed after the first rep. I might even take it before the first rep, so after the warm-up. Warm-up jog is done, 3Ks in. I'm feeling a bit shaky, so I'm going to take the gel now before the workout, see if it helps. Legs feel fine, just feeling a bit low, even though I did eat. Maybe it was a bit far out. Anyways, orange, fresh orange flavor, lovely. I don't know how it'll taste 30 Ks into a marathon, but not bad. Okay, so I'll just do a few drills. And then we go, yeah. Okay, warm-up jog done, gel done. Just doing a bit of dynamics, just opening up the hips here a bit. And then we go, 5 times 2Ks. What are your guys' sessions looking like? Hey? Right. First rep, like I said, it's going to be around marathon pace, so that's 4:15, and then we'll get faster each one, but not a lot. Like 4:15, 4:13, 4:11, something like that. Okay, here we go. Cap backwards, sports mode on. Ooh, let's go. First rep almost done. 20 meters. 4:15. So that first K felt horrible. Second one felt good. First one I went 4:12. Whoops. Second rep started. Gonna aim at 4:13 average for these two. Let's go. Second rep done. I did 4:11 then 4:12. So that's fine. Started the third rep. I'll aim at around 4:10. Okay. Wind has just picked up, so that's not great. So unfortunately the session cut short because of the battery dying, but anyways, it's on the screen. Thought I'd just show you some strength work I always do after the session. So first exercise here, ATG split squats, then into bent knee calf raises, then I go into one leg RDLs. Okay, so I put the weight down, keep the leg relatively straight and pick it back up. Then after that I usually move into glute bridges, one leg. As you can see, everything I'm doing is with one leg. There we go. Then after that I move into kettlebell swings. My posterior chain's quite weak, so meaning my hamstrings and glutes, so I work on those more than I do quads. And then after that I usually just do some pogo hops with pulses on every third hop, just to do some plyometrics. And that's pretty much it. Sometimes I vary it up a little bit, but that's that.
Okay. Spicy topic. So, Mr. NRG Runs from the UK recommended that I discuss long runs. With me having done one marathon, obviously I am a professional and expert when it comes to the long run. Right? I know exactly what I'm doing. I know everything there is to know about the long run. On a serious note, everything I'm about to say is from my own personal experience, as little as it may be, from articles that I've read, which I will link because they were very nice, good reads, solid reads. There's a video I watched, I'll link the video, very interesting video. It's a long video. Maybe listen to it when you, I don't know, driving to work or something as like a podcast type of listen. And that led me to look more into Coach Renato Canova, who is a legendary coach in the marathon world. And then I stumbled upon this article, which in itself was an amazing read. But then I went further down a rabbit hole. This guy also wrote some other articles, and this one here, he breaks down the training of professional athletes, which were coached by Renato Canova. That gave me a lot of insight. Based on that video I watched, as well as my experience from last year's training block for the sub 330, as well as reading these articles, has given me confidence in my philosophy in the long run. Okay, so read these articles, watch the video, don't listen to me, go to the sources themselves. They are much better written and discussed than what I will do in this short video. But here's my opinion nevertheless, because if I have an opinion, I'm going to share it, right? That's how it works. Okay, so when it comes to the long run, there are two scenarios. The first scenario is that you are training for a marathon and your goal for the marathon is to finish the marathon. You just want to go and run a marathon. You're not too concerned about your time. You just want to make the cutoff time. In that scenario, you just get time on feet, okay? The pace doesn't really matter. You just want to run progressively further in your training block. So that's where I recommend long, slow runs. The second scenario is where you want to run the marathon and you've set yourself a silly, ambitious goal like I have. So scenario number 2, I do not think you can just be doing long, slow runs. Before I tell you why, let's just discuss what's the point of a long run. The first one, it improves your cardiovascular efficiency. You caught me, I'm looking at some words there on the side, don't tell anyone. It boosts mitochondrial development. It improves lactate clearance, boosts mental toughness, gives mechanical adaptations. Okay, so that I got by prompting ChatGPT. But that doesn't mean anything to you. So this is my opinion. What is the long run for? For specificity. Specificity. That's it. Forget all these fancy words. What is the goal of the long run? This leads us to a principle in training or a principle in exercise. It's called the principle of specificity. And it's very simple. If I can give a silly analogy, I currently feel very fit when it comes to running. However, if I go swimming 200 meters and I'm gasping for air as if I haven't trained a day of my life. Now, is it because I'm aerobically unfit? No, it's because running is not specific to swimming at all. When we are training for a marathon, what most closely relates the marathon in your weekly training? It's the long run. So you need to make your long run resemble the marathon as closely as possible. That means we need to get marathon pace into our long run. Basically, your body adapts to the training that it does. Okay? But now, if you train not specific to what you are trying to achieve, then your body is not adapting fully. So to give a very unrealistic scenario, the best, most specific training for a sub 3 hour marathon would be to go run that marathon, the exact distance, at sub 3 hours. But obviously that's unrealistic, okay? So how do we get there? You need to slowly progress your long run to get closer and closer to what you're trying to achieve on race day. Let's actually just look how I've programmed how I've periodized the long run into my training block. This past Sunday, I did 3Ks warm up, then I did 15Ks at around 90 to 95% of marathon goal pace, and then 3Ks as close, or we'll just call it a pickup, which is picking up even closer to marathon pace, and then a 3K cool down. Then this coming Saturday, I will be doing 26Ks, and you'll see the session looks very similar. Then next week, I'll be doing the same percentiles, but I'm increasing the main block by 1K as well as the pickup in the end by 1K. Then I'll have a deload week. In this week, I do 20K, so quite a drastic drop in volume for the long run, and I'll be running this only easy. Then the whole point of doing the deload here is to then do a 4th week of this at the peak volume of that type of session. Okay, so as you can see, this progressed 24 to 26 to 28. Then there's a deload and then a 30K. And these sessions all look the same, except that the block in the middle increases in volume a little bit. The pace does not increase. You don't really want to up the volume as well as the intensity at the same time. That is a recipe for injury. So if you think about it, the whole point of this deload is to get my body ready for this massive run the following week. After that, the training changes a little bit for the next cycle. 2 weeks in this case, 1 week deload, and then the 3rd week is a big run, in this case 34Ks. Okay, then I start the next, which would be my final specific cycle, where it starts at 26Ks, then there's a deload, and then the final long run is a 36K. I'll explain how to calculate this now. This calculation I actually got from reading one of these articles. I don't remember which one it was. You take your goal marathon time in seconds, goal marathon pace, not time. So that would be 254, 255 seconds. So I'm just going to go with 254. You multiply that by 2 minus, and then you take the percentage you want to calculate. So in this case, let's say 94%. 94 over 100. Boom, it spits out the seconds that you want. 4 minutes 30 a K. I've done the same with these sessions, that's why it goes up to 103% and so on and so forth. That is how I personally am periodizing my long runs in my training. Volume increases, but for a 4-week cycle, the intensity remains the same. Then the intensity increases, but the volume drops back down. Okay, so I'm not bumping up even further with the intensity. Last year for the sub 330, I didn't do it like this. What I did there, let's say it was 25Ks, I would warm up 5Ks, then I would run 5Ks at steady pace, then I would run 5Ks at marathon pace, and then I would run 3 or so Ks faster than marathon pace. Now the issue with that now is, when I was running I was just trying to break 5 minutes a K. The difference between running 5 minutes and 4:50 didn't feel as intense as it would be now to run between 4 minutes 15 a K and 4 minutes 5 seconds a K. The faster you run, the more of a difference each second makes. So that's why I'm not going to be doing it like that for this cycle. It worked for me. Obviously I ran at 3:25, so I reached my goal, but I do not foresee it working with this. I think what I will change here though is I will try to do a 2 or 3K pickup towards the end of the long run each time, because I think picking it up towards the end of a 30K run mentally is challenging, and that's what I want to do, because the last 6-7 Ks of a marathon are mentally challenging, more so than not more than, it's both mentally and physically tough. What else do I plan to do on the long run that is important? Dial in and experiment with nutrition. Towards the end, maybe the last 3 or 4 long runs, I'll probably try out a few different singlets or tights or whatever. Socks is an important one. That's actually more the concern for me, as well as the shoes. When it gets closer to the time, I'll most likely run my long runs in whatever shoe I'm deciding to race in. And then thirdly, very important, is I actually do mini carbo loads for the long runs. You actually want a carbo load for a few days before a race, but with these long runs, the day before I eat a decent amount of carbs, and then also in the evening as well as the morning of the run, I'm testing out different meals that I'm going to be trying to eat when I'm at the race as well. So that's how I'm making it more specific.
If you made it this far, thanks for watching this week's video. Sorry for rambling so much. I really do try to make these shorter, but I actually had 40 minutes of rambling and I had to cut that down. So if you enjoyed that, give it a like, and then in the comment section, if you have any topics that I should discuss or give my opinion on, at least put them down there. Anyways, till next week. Cheers.